morning, guys. Please ignore my wet hair. Sorry. Also, I guess good evening or good night, depending on when you're watching this video. But it is morning for me. And it is such a cold morning that I had to freaking whip out my sweater that I put away because it's the middle of May, but it's like 40 something degrees today because I live in the mountains and it's freezing. I was walking my dog this morning and I'm like, dang, it's like it's October, but it's May. Welcome to a new writing vlog. Just for some context with my writing last night that you just saw in the last clips, I was just under 3,000 words in the manuscript. I'm just starting it. I'm literally on chapter 2 and now I'm just over 3,000 words. As it always goes with all new projects I start, the first scene/chapter usually is kind of wonky and I oftentimes just immediately rewrite it. But this time I didn't, but it just didn't feel right. I couldn't figure it out. So then I moved on to the next chapter. And last night when I was rereading what I had written thus far, I realized I think I know what the problem is here. Because I was writing it in third person. Now, I am not one of those people who does not like third person. I love third person. My project that I've spent the most time on is in third person, and I think that suits the story so well. There's another story I wrote that is in first person, and I don't think the story could be told any other way than in first person. When I started writing this one, Project Rockstar, by the way, it's Daisy Jones and the Six meets Vans Warped Tour. When I started writing this, for some reason, I just started off doing third person without really thinking about it. It's 2 points of view. I don't know. I guess with the multiple points of view in my mind, that equated to being third person because my other story that I've written that's in third person is an ensemble cast, a billion characters, and my other ones have been first person if it's one singular point of view. So I guess because I had 2 points of view, I was like, okay, I guess I'll do third person. But I was like, well, let me see what it looks like if I make it first person. And that just felt way, way, way better. I do think I would have to tweak the opening scene or two a good deal to like put in more narration and stuff like that, but it feels infinitely better. My one hesitance is I'm afraid I'm going to have trouble making each of the characters' first person narrations distinct enough from the other, but I think I'll be able to do it because they are such wildly different characters. But that is something I've noticed in my writing. Sometimes I feel like I infuse a little bit too much of my voice into the characters, and not necessarily my voice, like my vocabulary and things like that, or syntax, sentence structures and lengths. Like I feel like it's very much me and maybe not so much what these characters would do. So that's something I actually keep in mind. I don't know if that's something anyone else really, I wouldn't say struggles with, but notices in their writing. So I guess we'll see how that goes with this. For the opening section, the first half of the first act is just going to be the one point of view, and then after the catalyst I'm going to introduce the other point of view, and then it'll go back and forth between the two throughout the whole story. But right now I'm just focusing on the one character. But switching from the third person to the first person is like, I really am preferring this over what it was before, especially because one of the facets of the story was I wanted to refer to the main characters gender neutrally, and this was something that I was like, well, I'm gonna see how it works when I'm actually writing it. When I'm writing in third person and trying not to draw attention to the character's gender, it is very difficult. But if I make it from first person, it is so much easier because you're referring to the character with me, my, us, our, and not they, them, he, him, she, her, whatever, because it's not necessarily that these characters are non-binary. They're just, I don't know, just gender neutral. And I was gonna see if it worked, and in third person it didn't really work, and I was like, okay, I think I have to be a little more clear. But if I go first person, which I have now shifting to, I can see how that pans out. Like I said, I'm just over 3,000 words. I'm only on chapter 2, but I'm already feeling a lot better about what I'm working with since my little bit of writing last night. I would love to hit like 10,000 words in this vlog. That would be freaking awesome, but we shall see. It's a dark and gloomy morning, which I love, but admittedly I do love it more when it's October than when it's May. But I'm not complaining. Literally anything is better than the freaking ice storms we had through the winter. That sucked. I wish I could give you a word count for what I did yesterday. I went to a local cafe and I got a blueberry scone. Yummy, yummy. My favorite thing to get there is a cream cheese Danish, but sometimes they have them, sometimes they don't. They did not have it yesterday, but I got the blueberry scone and it was tasty. Did some writing in their outdoor seating area, and then I switched and went over to my local library where I also went and wrote for a little while. Now, I was writing on a different laptop than I usually write on, and this is one that sometimes goes online, sometimes does not. I don't have Wi-Fi, I use Ethernet. It's the whole thing is weird. Anyway, this thing is not really compatible with Ethernet, so I can only use it if I connect to Wi-Fi, like when I go to the library. So this is what I use if I'm gonna go writing out in public, because my regular laptop is broken. The fans, I don't know what's wrong with it, but it is so loud and it makes a grating buzzing noise, so I can't bring that out in public. It's not even just the fans are loud, they're broken. There's something wrong with it, so I don't bring that out in public. I bring this out in public, but this died at some point. Its clock got out of sync because it's not connected to the internet, so it was saying that it was like November, I think. So in Scrivener, when it has like the writing days, it keeps those statistics. It was saying that I wrote back in November, so then I did sync it, but then it didn't account for all of the words I had written. It said I wrote words back in November and then words yesterday. I basically copied the Scrivener project from my main laptop, transferred it to this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the text, I think, out of the project on this one and paste it in the other one, but I'm going to like try to do a funky little workaround. I'm going to manually change the date on my computer to yesterday and see if Scrivener recognizes it as words I wrote yesterday, and then I can tell you how much I wrote. Is that a whole bunch of fuss for something that's not really that important? Yes, but I'm obsessed with statistics and tracking things actually to a detriment, but I'm better about that now. Now I mostly do it for fun. I don't know if I've hit 5,000 in the manuscript yet, but it is Sunday. I don't know that I'll hit 10,000 by the time I want to finish this video, but I want to keep making progress. I still haven't been writing every day. I've been writing every couple days. I want to get to writing every day, at least a little bit. Even if I don't hit my goal, I want to write something. I also, a little while ago, checked out Daisy Jones and the Six and Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow from my local library. I've read both of them before, and I was going to use them as reference. I was going to look at like where they have their story beats, how that all falls out, get reference for maybe subplots and things. But I checked these out a couple weeks ago and I haven't really looked at them at all. So I think today I might take a little peek at them, see what happens at like halfway marks, quarter marks, maybe take notes of subplots and things. I'm not going to reread the books. I am going to skim them because I don't have that I don't have that kind of time. So if you saw my 24-hour reading challenge, I read very slowly. I do not have that kind of time. All right, guys, quick update. The date thing that I did to switch the date, it worked. Yesterday I only wrote 1,058 words, but the goal was like 900 something, so I did exceed it just barely. I don't know if I've said in this video, but the goal was to write 80,000 words in a 3-month span, which to some people probably not crazy. To me, I have trouble staying committed to something for that long. Initially, I was going to do 2 months, and I was like, no, I think 3 months is better. And then for the first half of May, I wrote like a couple thousand words, which would not have worked if I was doing it over 2 months, but over 3 months, I gave myself the time, and so it'll be fine. So the way it's looking at this point to meet 80,000 by the end of July, which is what I'm aiming for. I have to write 995 words per day. Shouldn't be an issue if I stay consistent. Alrighty guys, there's not as much for this video as I was hoping there would have been, because I guess I've just been a little bit lazy and avoidant, but to be fair, I am struggling a little bit with this project, with the first act, with this setup beat. It's just tricky. It's hard because I really tried to do some brainstorming and get somewhat of a solid foundation before I started writing. But since working on this project, it's like I feel like I'm not exactly sure what to do, even though I've made an outline and I try to stick to it, but everything just kind of is seeming to fall a little flat, which is frustrating and making it hard to want to come back and work to it. Although it's not just a matter of wanting, it's kind of like deciding to do it and then doing it. I have not yet met my word count goal for the day. I've written 711 words of my required 1015. It's only midday. I am pretty confident that I will finish it and hopefully exceed it to some degree so that I can bring my average required word count down a little bit. I want to be able to get this video up, and I don't know, I feel like once I get this like slumpy, struggly, frustrating energy out, maybe then I can find some new energy or inspiration, which kind of makes it sound bad because then that makes this video seem uninspiring. But I mean, it's the true fact of my experience thus far. By the way, it is May 20th. So by this point, if I had stuck to my schedule, I should be a lot further. At least 15,000, probably like 20,000. But right now I'm at a total of 6,664 words. Basically where I'm at with the first act at the moment is I have another scene or so to write before the catalyst. And I think once I write the catalyst and then I start including the other point of view character, I think maybe it'll give me a little bit of a boost and I can get a little bit better of a feel for what I'm working with. And I am still kind of hoping that once I get around the 10,000 mark, then I'll feel a little bit better about the story. I don't really know. In full transparency, I'm not feeling super great about this at the moment, which is kind of sad because I spent so much time brainstorming and getting kind of an outline to some degree in place. So I thought I was really setting myself up for success. But ever since I started working on the very first scene, it ended up looking different than what I planned. Like, there was a character I just came up with when I was writing the first scene, and now it's like a pretty important character, and then it just has made things a little wonky and weird. But I feel like I just have to write it, I have to get through it, and then I can fix it later. But that's hard. It's hard. I'm not going to quit yet, even though there's definitely a big part of me that's like, I could be working on a different project and probably getting a lot more done working on something else. But I think I really need to practice dedication and getting through something even when it's difficult. I need to work on that discipline, I think, a little bit. So that's what I'm prioritizing, even though I don't feel super inspired or super enthusiastic or anything about what I'm working with thus far. I mean, as it was last night slash yesterday, a lot of the work I was doing was I actually was going back to the beginning and tweaking, and I kind of added some things to the earlier scenes that made me feel a little bit better about them. Not like line level editing, just like, I don't know, including some information or fleshing it out a little bit more. That admittedly, I think that did make me feel a little bit better. I'm hoping in my next vlog be getting the catalyst under my belt. It would be super cool if I wrap up Act 1. I feel like Act 1 and Act 3 are the hardest things for me to do. The ending is the hardest, but the beginning can be pretty tricky for me as well. The middle is the part I love, which is so different from what I hear anybody else say. I'm looking forward to getting through this sticky point, and I'm hoping that my vlogs in the future will be a little more interesting than this one. But hey, we gotta get through the struggle to find the stuff that's better. Yeah. Wow, real wordsmith. I'm a writer, guys. Let me know about your writing projects, whatever you might be working on, and how that's going. I'd love to hear. Stay tuned for more writing vlogs or whatever kind of random discussion things that I feel like I want to yap about. I hope to see you again. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.